Being a Division I tennis player and then learning how to walk again was a reality check. It didn't feel real. It kind of felt like I was, having a bad dream.
Jack was always really healthy, never really sick. He had probably more injuries than illnesses.
When your only goal is to get to the next hour, get to the next day, it's a pretty worrying feeling, and you don't really think about surviving, but you do it. Things may go wrong, things may, not turn out the way you want them to, but at the end of the day, you have to keep being positive and find the good moments, even if it doesn't seem like there are any.
I guess officially I met Jack 5 years ago. It was at a tournament in Cleveland, Ohio, and former Spartan who played for me is his coach, Grant Asher, and he mentioned, hey, you got to take a look at this kid. I remember specifically seeing him play this one match. It was a match that he probably shouldn't have won, but won, and definitely was a moment for me. He said, I'm going to do whatever I can to get this player.
Growing up, had no affiliation to Michigan State. Every year they have a junior tournament at the outdoor courts. Playing there, seeing the stadium in the background, I just fell in love with the school. I fell in love with the campus. Honestly, it was just a can't say no situation.
When Jack came in, he had a phenomenal summer. He came in really hot, and I specifically remember that, once he came in the fall, he actually struggled a lot. He wasn't winning matches. Sometimes that happens.
I did not have the results that I wanted, but, tried to work hard, tried to stay patient with it. I was kind of fighting for that last spot in the starting lineup, and things were starting to go the way that I wanted to.
And he came back in the spring and was in our doubles lineup, earned a spot in our singles lineup down low, and he was an easy freshman year for him. And it turned out to be even tougher as time went on.
I started noticing I was having some issues with my stomach, and I didn't really think much of it. Also, trying to vie for that sixth spot, I didn't really want anything to come in between that. I wanted to play.
I remember going to watch the Spartans play Harvard, and when I saw him, he looked really thin.
I was down about 25 pounds. Towards the beginning of the third set, I just felt like I couldn't really go anymore, couldn't really play. Felt like a slug on the court, and kind of knew at that point that something was really wrong.
I got a phone call from Coach Orlando that he was bringing Jack to the emergency room. They gave him some medication, but they also said that he should follow up with a gastroenterologist and have a colonoscopy.
He had a pretty severe case of it's an inflammatory bowel disease. Inflammatory bowel disease can encompass kind of a wide variety of diagnoses, from ulcerative colitis to Crohn's disease.
It was diagnosed, they did biopsies, it was diagnosed as ulcerative colitis.
It's an autoimmune disease where your immune system starts attacking parts of your body. I was able to be put on a medicine, so I was, luckily able to feel pretty good within a couple months after that.
We gotta focus on what we need to do to win. All right, focus on what we need to do to win. That's what competitors do. That's what you need to do here. Come on, don't get frustrated, let's play fresh here.
From the day that our season ended his freshman year, he took that summer very seriously. He trained with a vengeance, and over the summer he started to put together some results that we saw in the recruiting process where we really believed that he could do it.
I never thought that I could see him raise his level that high in such a short period of time.
Wait, good stuff. Hey, we won that match because of you. If you don't turn your match around, we don't win that match. All right, good stuff, proud of you.
Started out really, really well in the spring, was playing the best tennis of my life. I think I won 8 matches in a row to start the year. I really felt like I was starting to make that leap to the next level.
He had 2 big ranked wins. One was against Alex Lebedev from Notre Dame, who was probably a top 20 collegiate player at the time.
That's where I really thought, wow, this guy's really taken off.
I just remember after that match, he just said, hey, I've kind of bluffed it to this point. I thought I could win, but I never knew I could beat somebody this good. And he took a photo of the scorecard, he had it in his phone, and that was proof to himself that, hey, I can do this. And he pulled off some more ranked wins that season, and I think he got up to as high as 74 in the collegiate rankings.
Well, he returned back in August of his junior year, and one thing about Jack, he never let anyone in that he was hurting.
We were playing golf, and he had told me that he thought something was up. And then he went to go visit his brother in Chicago, and he came home and he told me there was definitely something wrong.
Started noticing similar things to the freshman year, outside of the fact that it was a little bit worse this time.
I came down to East Lansing and I picked him up, and he was admitted into the hospital.
With this disease process, it can be a lot of trial and error, a lot of question marks. This can be not necessarily a black and white diagnosis, so it can be kind of a frustrating situation.
So I was sent home on a new medicine. Tried that new medicine, did not work. So I got sent back to the hospital, and I think that's when we kind of started to worry. People started talking about clinical trials because I wasn't getting any better.
They would always have a new treatment, and that would be the light at the end of the tunnel, and then they would have that medicine, and it wouldn't work.
It was horrible. Every day presented us with a new problem. He got pneumonia. They thought he was septic. The gastroenterologist brought it up to us and said that there's a possibility that he's going to lose his colon.
Which I, had no idea was possible. I didn't even know, can you do that? How serious is it going to be? My first thought was, can I play tennis? Fortunately, the answer was yes. I had to get through the surgeries, obviously, but I hadn't eaten in about 2 weeks. I was 50 pounds underweight. Mentally, I was, kind of horrible. The only thing you're thinking about is getting better, and it almost drives you crazy. Just, keep thinking about that thought. And around, I would say, week 5 in the hospital, that's when I just started to feel like a mannequin almost. And, that's when things really took a turn for the worse.
Hey, Wakes, I know you're going through some crazy, crazy times. None of us can even know what you're going through. But I know you're in for a battle, all right? And there's no other guy on this team that can battle harder than you. I know you're going to be back, and we can't wait. Super proud of you. I know you're in a tough time, man, but no one loves you more than your brothers. Spartan pride.
We visited him in the hospital. He had the gown on, and we were talking with him, and you could tell his cheeks were sunken in. And it just didn't seem like he was, the same Jack. And it really wasn't until he stood up to go to the bathroom.
When he got up and he had the gown on, and, you could see the back of his legs, and his legs were so skinny, so skinny.
After seeing him as a 6'2" man at 120 pounds, there was less than 0% chance in my mind that he was actually going to make it back.
That was a real eye-opener for me that hey, this is really, really serious. We're in deeper trouble than I thought we were. And, from there, I think it was 2 or 3 days later that they had to have emergency surgery.
Jack wouldn't take any of the hard drugs, the opiates, because he didn't want to violate NCAA rules. And that day, he was begging for drugs. And they couldn't get him comfortable, maybe for a half an hour at a time, and then the drugs would wear off. And that night, I was at the hospital. I stayed with him because I knew something was wrong, and that was the night that the pain started, and the doctor called me in the middle of the night and said, "We think he's losing his colon, that it's perforated."
He was very sick. Once the colon perforates, bacteria will spill into the abdominal cavity, and the body starts having a septic response, and that can be a fatal situation. So usually you have only a couple hours to act.
From that point, the clock's ticking. I was in unbearable pain. My heart rate was 150, 160. Taking a breath hurt. It really hurt. And so I was trying not to take breaths, but I had to take breaths every single time I took a breath.
I'm a tennis parent, so I always wanted him to play tennis because that's what he wanted. And when he was so sick, lying in that hospital bed, it didn't matter anymore. I wanted him to be okay. And there were points that we didn't know if he was gonna live.
At that moment, it was, screw tennis, screw school. The only thing I can remember thinking about was just help me, just help me. I just want this pain to be over. And a little bit in my mind was can I get out of this? From the pre-op room to, a couple days after being in the ICU, I honestly couldn't tell you what happened. I had tubes going, down my throat, on my nose. I had, I think, 7 IVs in. Unbeknownst to me, I had 0 muscle at this point. Even sitting up was a challenge at first.
When you think of the guy who was beating Notre Dame or Northwestern or Wisconsin, not even being able to walk, it's a big difference, and it was hard. The fact that he was alive was the best part.
From sitting up, went to standing up, 5, 10, 15 seconds, just increasing. From standing, I started walking on a cane like an old person. It was a little bit embarrassing, but was able to start walking on my own again.
It's funny, when we're doing conditioning sessions and we're worried about how fast a guy's getting off the line or if a guy touches the line, and you see one of your players learning how to walk again, it puts it all in perspective.
Go.
I vividly remember standing in the ICU with his mother, and she was asking me, well, when can he get back to practice? And I was like, he almost, died. He was really sick. I did think that he'd probably get back to tennis, but I had no clue if he would be able to get back to the state that he was previously.
Who's gonna miss?
As soon as I had that first surgery and the doctor told me, eventually you will be able to play, I kind of took that as a challenge, and honestly, it made me excited. I had 2 more surgeries to go through to kind of complete the process of returning my body to normal. They told me, the better shape you are for this second surgery, the easier it's going to end up being.
It's going to get easier and easier. Excellent. That's the way to work.
We wanted to do everything we could to make him feel part of the team, and we gave him the position of being a volunteer coach. He would help out during game day matches, and we were just doing it to give him something to play for, something to live for.
He went back and he was feeling good, and he had an ostomy bag. I remember coming to see him hit. He asked me to come watch him play, and I couldn't believe that he was on the tennis court.
Even just being out there, hearing the balls hit the ground, hearing the rackets hit the ball, the smells, the sights, the sounds is just surreal. And every time that I had surgery, I was just counting down the days until I could come back and start playing with the guys again.
When you talk about peaks and valleys, there were probably about 3 times where we looked over the past 2-3 years. We were looking in the rearview mirror, and we thought this thing was past him. And he made a comeback. He got strong. He started playing in practice and really competing, and then only to get floored again.
I thought, after this last surgery, they give you 2 months and you should be fine. You should be normal. I started trying to play again. After every long training session, the only thing I'd want to do is go lay in bed.
He would walk out of practice, and we talk about emptying the tank at practice with our guys. Jack would empty the tank.
And then we got in some competition, and you throw competition at Jack, and he says, Coach, I want to play. And he'd be competitive with the guys. I know he beat some of the guys. But it would take him about a week after competing. It would take him a week to be able to play again. And, I didn't know how that was all going to work.
I tried to push myself. Essentially at a practice, I pretty much collapsed and just couldn't go. Talked to my doctor, and I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to feel this way. People lead really normal lives, and I'm struggling to lead that right now, so. My doctor recommended me to a specialist. She was able to diagnose me with a different irritable bowel disease called Crohn's disease.
All right, guys, hey, before we get started with the dynamics, just say we all know it's a big day, obviously. The Wings coming back. Handle those emotions, play for each other, play for Spartan Nation. Let's give it everything we have. Let's empty the tank.
Beat the Hokies on 3, 1, 2, 3. Beat the Hokies!
Jack is the strongest person I know. He has got the heart of a Spartan. The moment he steps back out on the court and is competing for Michigan State, it will be amazing. The fact that he's fought so hard to be where he is, I have no words. I think I'll just cry. Happy tears.
The big thing that I've learned throughout all of this is just to keep going. Get to the next minute, get to the next hour. Surround yourself with people that want the best for you and want you to be the best that you can be.
When it gets tough, because it will be. When it gets tough, I want you guys to look to your guy to your left, look to your guy to your right. Hey, do it for him. Do it for them, okay? Let's go. Let's go, boys.
Go, go,
I've dreamt about this moment, the first match of the regular season, for over 2 years now.
That's my boy.
I can't imagine how incredibly special and nerve-wracking it'll probably be, you know, when I step up on this court, but I'd have it no other way.
Playing number 2 singles on court 6 is senior from Birmingham, Michigan, Jack Winkler.
Let's go. Come on. I got you.
I can't be any more prouder of what he's been able to do, whether he wins another match or not. I mean, the kid could have quit a long time ago. There's something special about Jackson Winkler, there's no doubt about it. Come on! Every match he plays and every day he continues to walk out, it is a miracle.
Every time I see the scars on my stomach, I think, what are you doing this for? You know, what's your goal? I lost almost everything. I was there.
He wants it. He wants it, and you don't get through what he's got through without having a vision, without having goals and having a drive. That's uncommon. We're proud to call him a member of our team, and he's a big-time leader of this program, and one of those guys is a coach that you'll never forget.
Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to play tennis at the collegiate level, at the pro level, whatever it was, just at a high level, and it was a big goal for me to be able to do this again. This right now is the best tennis I could possibly play. Win, lose, or draw, without a doubt. Everything that I've been through, everything that I've dreamed of leading to this moment, everything is a gift. It feels unbelievably special.
What brought my attention to Jaden was that he's a hard worker. He gonna do whatever he gotta do to be on the court. He gonna get back on D. He gonna block shots.
Jaden is unbelievable in terms of bringing energy off the bench.
Akins drives down low against the big guy and banks it up, and it's in. That's his first 2.
You know he's gonna do it with a lot of passion and energy, so he definitely gives us a lift when he goes into the game.
And a pleasant good afternoon to everybody around the great state of Michigan, and we're back home in East Lansing. Well, interesting game today between Michigan State and Penn State. 4:44 to go.
We were on defense. I saw the momentum was swaying our way, and I kind of read the play good. The big man rolled, I tagged, and got a steal. I just saw me in the rim, really, and I just let the rest handle itself.
Cross-court pass intercepted by Akins. Look out! Hit!
Another turnover for touchdown by the Spartans.
It brings everybody up because everybody knows Jada got the most bounce on the team. So when he dunks, it's unbelievable. It's a feeling like no other, just knowing that you can make a play, and once you do make that, and the crowd gets into the game, and you just get that feeling in your body, that a rush, an adrenaline rush, just the sound and how loud it is in there, you just feel all of that. So it just feels great. My dad got me started into basketball when I was about 3 or 4 years old. It was basically the first sport that I was introduced to, and he knew how much I loved it, and my dad loves basketball, so it was something easy for us to bond over. Just training, doing different drills, going to our local YMCA. Just that gym means a lot to me, and I put a lot of work in there. I would say my freshman year of high school, just playing against older guys, playing varsity. And then that freshman summer, I got a D1 offer, so that's when I really knew that I could play D1.
When we first started watching him, he was a heck of a scorer. Played with the ball in his hands quite a bit. And then just his leadership, how he carried himself, and then he has an unbelievable family. Once we met them and got to know him, it was just a kind of a match made in heaven. But he could definitely score the ball, and that was the thing that we say, hey, we better take a look at this kid.
Valentine for 3. He got it, and MSU is on top now by 2.
The MSU teams, like 2014 team with Gary, Denzel, and all those guys, just watching them, because that's when I really started watching Michigan State basketball a lot. And seeing that team kind of just made me want to come here from an early age and made me a fan.
Let's say the lead goes to the corner. For me, the person's a lot better than the player. He's a top shelf kid, very good student, very accountable, treats people the right way, very respectful.
Yes, sir!
He's determined. All we ever talk about is he wants to get to the NBA. That's his goal. We have our long talks probably 2-3 times a month. He's determined to help out his family. He's determined to do a lot of things, and it's gonna work out for him.
He lives in the gym, and he's always doing something to improve his game, whether it be watching film, shooting free throws, working on his ball handling. Jaden's just a guy that loves to play basketball. He loves being here, he loves being on campus. We had a picture of him back when he was in junior high, and then one when he was even younger, and he had on Michigan State stuff.
Well, the 5 right now for Tom Izzo in for the first time in this game is Jaden Akins. Akins, a 6'4", 180 freshman from Farmington, Michigan, averaging just about 6 a game, and boy, he is playing better every time out.
I was a kid, just a young kid, just wanting to take pictures with everybody and stuff. But now I'm really here, so it's just crazy how that turns around. I love all my teammates. They taught me just to stay positive about situations and to work hard, and that good things are gonna come no matter what.
Here's a 3 by Akins, yes.
I achieved a goal and checked it off my list, and I just gotta keep striving to reach my other goals. For my mom and dad, just seeing them, going to work every day, I feel like I wanna work hard so they don't gotta work no more one day. I just wanna win as many games as possible, win a national championship, and I just wanna be known as a special player here. Now I'm ready to do work here and win here and impact. Just because being here is not enough, I feel like we gotta take that next step.